Winter Storm Jonas. First, the hardest hit areas may see more than 2 feet of snow. That includes Virginia and the D.C. and Baltimore metro areas. However, the northern extent of the heaviest snow remains one of the biggest question marks.
Second, there's a snow and ice threat for parts of the South and Ohio Valley. It may look similar to or even worse than what you went through with Ilias. I think it will be worse for people.
For sure. And third, the first blizzard and winter storm watches have already been issued from Mississippi to New Jersey. A blizzard watch for D.C. and Baltimore already hoisted quite early.
That's right. Mississippi to New Jersey. And the fourth thing you need to know about Winter Storm Jonas, although much of the focus is on how much snow and ice will fall, don't forget about the potential for power outages here because, well, we're going to have strong winds. We're going to have coastal flooding near some of the East Coast beaches. Onshore winds could gust up to 60 miles per hour during the storm. But last hour, Keith pretty much summed all this up in 5 words. Watch this.
D.C., yes. New York, yeah. Boston, eh. My finest moment there, yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty accurate because I think the hardest part of the forecast left now is that northern extent of precipitation.
Right. How far north does the snow get versus where will the sun be out? It's going to be a very tight gradient.
Let's bring in Tom Nizzle. And Tom, not only is it a tight gradient, let's put it over the biggest city in the country. Go.
Yeah, I mean, literally affecting tens of millions of people with this forecast. And the snowfall forecast for a place like New York City up to Boston could change drastically as our model runs get more information into them. Now, it's interesting now that the feature that is going to develop Jonas is located over the U.S. right now. And how do we get our information to initialize or start our computer models? How do you get all that data? Well, it's done with a weather balloon network across all National Weather Service locations in the U.S., over 100 of them. They send up balloons around 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern time each day, so every 12 hours. But when we get into an event like this and we want to get more information into the computer models, we oftentimes will double up, and so we'll send them every 6 hours, and that is what we're doing now. So for the eastern 2/3 of the U.S., over the next day and a half or so, due to Winter Storm Jonas, we've upped the operations there, and we're going to put more and more data into our computer models, and hopefully that will help refine the forecast even more. If we take a look at where we're going to be as far as places like the Carolinas here, we talked about the snow a little further north, but in the Carolinas we're going to have a lot of cold air that comes down the lee side or the east side of the Appalachians into places like Charlotte, Greensboro, and Raleigh going into the Friday time frame. With all that cold air in place, unfortunately, we're going to set up the potential for some pretty significant icing. You can see Friday morning, the purple area is freezing rain, the pink area would likely be sleet, and then the blue area is snow to the north of that. And I'm very concerned about this corridor here that goes from Greenville up through Charlotte, Greensboro, and over to Raleigh, as well as across Kentucky and places like Lexington. These areas here, during the day on Friday, are likely going to see enough icing that there's the potential, at least, not only for tremendous traffic issues because of ice on roadways, but power outages as well. So stay tuned for that. These areas like Charlotte and Raleigh are going to be right near the freezing mark, and all it's going to take is a couple of degrees difference one way or the other to go from nuisance, little mix of rain and little sleet, to a freezing rain event and icing that could cause all kinds of issues. So that's Charlotte. Take a look here at Raleigh. Those are the conditions in Raleigh Friday as well, with that temperature hovering right around the 32-degree mark. Hey, when we talk about the snowfall here in places like Washington, D.C., it is really going to come down. And if we take a look at Washington locally here, I want you to watch as we go from Friday morning into Friday evening, how that snow, this is a Friday rush hour, the darker blue is the heavier snowfall. The lighter snow into Baltimore by evening rush hour, D.C. smack dab in the middle of it. And look at how this dark blue area stays in there Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, right in through Saturday evening. Continuous snowfall across here before it eventually begins to work its way out of the area. So we have a very innovative graphic. I hope I have time to show this, that one of our graphic meteorologists, Andrew Maloof, just put together. Take a look at this. It shows how heavy it's going to be snowing on an hour-by-hour basis and how the winds will pick up as we go from Friday afternoon, coming home rush hour here, into Friday night. The snow picks picks up to a heavy rate as we go in overnight here. During the day on Saturday, take a look. Saturday morning in through about 9 a.m. here for about 8 hours straight, very heavy snowfall and strong winds, and that continues Saturday afternoon and night before gradually working its way out of the area after midnight Saturday. So DC, Saturday is certainly going to be a day to hunker down, watch a Weather Channel on TV with a good cup of hot chocolate, and everything will be good. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Tom, especially the Weather Channel part. Tom just showed you the weather balloon launches on the map. Coming up on Weather Underground, the crew will take you out to a launch live to show you how that all happens. That's in about 90 minutes.
We're stressing how important it is to prepare and pay attention to this next winter storm. Details will change, and it's good to stay informed.
But when exactly should you get your emergency kit ready? Meteorologist Mark Elliott explains what you should do during, before,